Hi, everybody. I'm Allan Reinhardt, lead announcer for the National Hot Rod Association, and today we're going to talk a little NHRA 4-Wide 101. Now, perhaps you've seen the 4-Wide event before, either live or NHRA on Fox. Well, there are a lot of nuances in 4-Wide racing that don't come into play in 2-Wide. If you give me a few minutes of your day, I think I can enhance your experience. As a matter of fact, I guarantee I can. Here we have your basic 2-lane drag strip. And as a matter of fact, I've got another one just like it right next door, separated by a wall down the middle. Now, one of the keys to 4-Wide is equalizing the rubber buildup on all 4 lanes throughout the course of the weekend. And NHRA does that by running the sportsman cars 2 at a time on specific lanes. Maybe Super Gas and Super Comp will run on these 2 lanes. If that's the case, they will be on these 2 lanes from the first practice run until they race for the trophy in the final round Sunday afternoon. Maybe it'll be Super Stock and Super Comp on those 2 lanes. And it's exactly the same thing. Whatever lane they start on, those are the lanes they're going to race on all weekend. The objective, to keep the rubber buildup equal across all 4 lanes. If 400 cars went down just these 2 lanes and nobody went down those 2, by the end of the day, it really would be a 2-lane racetrack. These 2 would be vastly superior to those, and NHRA doesn't want that, so we split the sportsman cars up to equalize the rubber buildup across all 4 lanes. Lane designation for 4-Wide are based on driver's perspective, left to right. Furthest to the left is lane number 1, then 2, 3, and all the way over on the right is lane number 4. Now, in qualifying, the lanes are assigned. Each driver will run each lane once, and the run order in qualifying is based first on points. It's an advantage to go last. You can watch your other competitors go down. Maybe you see something. Maybe you learn something. Maybe you can make an adjustment to your car. So you earn the right to be last, first by having the most points. The top 4 points earners will be the final 4 down the racetrack in the first qualifying session. After that, it goes to performance. The quickest car in lane number 4 in the first session will be the last car down lane number 1 in the second session. The slowest car from lane number 1, that's going to be the first car down lane number 2. So it's important in the early rounds of qualifying to make good runs because you're going to be helping yourself later in the weekend by getting yourself a spot further at the back of the pack. Now, race day run order, that's a whole different story. We'll talk about that in a minute. In a normal 2-Wide race, lane choice designation is based on performance. Either the higher qualified car or the quicker car from previous gets to pick his lane, right up until the last minute. Well, it works the same in 4-Wide, but it's a little more complicated. The quickest car of the 4 gets first choice of lanes. The second quickest car then picks his. The third quickest car gets one of the last 2, and the fourth one, well, he just gets the lane that's left over. Now, where it becomes interesting is if something happens during the course of the session. Let's say there's an oil down. Let's say there's a problem. Let's say everybody in lane 2 is smoking the tires. All of a sudden, I don't want lane 2. I got lane choice. You know what? I want lane 3. Well, now the guy in lane 3, if he's the second quickest car, he doesn't want lane 2 either. He wants lane 1. The guy in lane 1 says, I'm not taking that. I'm moving over to lane 4. And that poor 4th guy gets stuck with whatever lane nobody else wants. But it's a whole lot more complicated than just, you take the left and I'll take the right. One other thing that performance does is it designates the run order on Sunday. In the first session, the number 1 qualifier can decide if he wants to be first quad, second quad, third, or fourth. And the other 3 in his quad have absolutely no say-so in the matter. As the day goes on, performance also dictates. The quickest car from round 1 can decide in round 2 if he wants to be first or last, and nobody else has any input. Performance pays in NHRA, even more so 4-Wide. Let's compare the ladders between a 2-Wide race and a 4-Wide. In the standard 2-Wide configuration, number 1 qualifier would run 16, 8 versus 9, 4 versus 13, and so on. The 8 winners will advance, and then the 4 winners advance. It's a single elimination tournament until the last man or woman standing is declared the winner. If you've ever filled out an NCAA bracket, it's exactly the same thing. You just want to keep advancing until there's one man standing. Now, on a 4-wide ladder, they combine the pairs. So 1, 16, 8, and 9 would all be one quad. One quad consists of the number 4, 5, 12, and 13 qualifiers. 2, 7, 10, and 15 make up a quad, and 3, 6, 11, and 14. The difference in 4-wide racing, for the early rounds, you don't have to win. You have to advance, and the top 2 cars finishing, crossing the stripe, will advance, regardless of elapsed time. So technically, you could get beat on a hole shot and still advance and still have lane choice for the next round. But you don't want to get beat on 2 hole shots, and we've seen that happen, where the quickest car down the racetrack actually finishes 3rd in the quad and doesn't advance. We've also seen the opposite happen, where the 3rd or the 4th quickest car gets a jump on the starting line and finishes in one of the top 2 spots, so he does advance on a double hole shot. Now, once you get to the final round, that's when you want to win. The first car to cross the stripe is going to be the winner. The second car across is the runner-up. And 3rd or 4th are the semi-finalists, and that's from a points and payout perspective. So in 4-wide, remember, the key in the early rounds isn't to win. The key is to advance. And yeah, I know I failed art class, but it's not that bad, is it? As far as staging procedure in a 4-wide race, depends on what lane you're in. If you're in lane 1, it's pretty much normal. The bulb closest to you is yours. You pre-stage, you stage, the tree flashes, and off you go. In lane 4, it's exactly the same. I'll show you. Here we are in lane 4. The outside bulb again is yours. You pre-stage, you stage, and off you go. The confusion comes in when you get to lanes 2 and 3. Let's take a look at that. I'm standing in lane 3 right now. That is my stage bulb on the other side of the tree. On a normal run, shouldn't be an issue. All 4 drivers will pull up and pre-stage, and then all 4 drivers will stage, the tree fires, and off we go. Here's what's going to happen, though. Usually on Friday or Saturday. By Sundays, the drivers will have it down. All 4 drivers will pre-stage, and then they stage. Now, I'm in lane 3. My car's rocking. My tree's on. I think I'm ready to go. But see the red light? I never got staged. My side of the tree lit up, but my light was actually on the other side, and that's something the drivers have to keep in track of, especially when you're in lane 2 and 3. Now, if you're in a nitro car, it's not a huge issue if you're one of the other 3 drivers. Once you're off the clutch, the fuel pump's on, you're ready to go. As soon as that tree flashes, you hit the gas and off you go. But if you're in a pro stock car, you have to rev the engine up before you drop the clutch pedal. And if you're sitting flat-footed waiting for that 4th driver to stage, when your tree flashes green, you won't be ready. That's something the pro stock drivers have to keep in mind. Scoreboard configuration is different for a 4-wide race as well. Now, in a normal 2-wide race, the top of the scoreboard would be ET, the bottom of the scoreboard would be mile an hour. But in a 4-wide race, each lane has their own scoreboard section. Left lane top is lane 1, left lane bottom is lane 2, right lane top is lane 3, and right lane bottom is lane 4. And the scoreboards will toggle. First, the ETs will come up on all 4, and then a few seconds later, the mile an hour will come up on all 4, and it will continue to toggle back and forth until the track is set for the next race. But just remember, lane 1, left high, lane 2, left low, lane 3, right side top, and lane 4, right side bottom. You can keep track of your favorite driver. A common question when it comes to 4-wide racing in the NHRA is, What about safety? What if there's an incident in lane 4? The safety safari is all the way on the other side of the track, especially with a wall dividing the two racetracks. Well, the answer to that is simple. There are 2 complete safety safari teams on site at the 4-wide race. One dedicated to lanes 1 and 2, one dedicated to lanes 3 and 4. So if a driver gets in trouble, the safety safari will be on them as fast as they are at a normal 2-wide race. And in the event of a huge oil down or a big cleanup, if they have to double up, both teams can jump on one set of lanes, and that cuts time in half. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I hope you've enjoyed this inside look at NHRA 4-wide drag racing. If you haven't seen it live and in person, you really need to. Even more than 2-wide, a 4-wide drag race is something that just has to be experienced. And remember, now you've got 2 opportunities: the original 4-wide track at Charlotte Motor Speedway and right here at the Strip at Las Vegas. We'll see you soon.